Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade kindergarten to 2 English lesson on adjectives and adverbs. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade kindergarten to 2. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of adjectives and adverbs. So in our previous lesson, we spoke about adverbs, and we said with adverbs, right? Adverbs tell us more about the verb. Adverbs tell us how, when, and where, but it tells us more about the verb. It describes the verb, it modifies the verb. Those are adverbs. So now, today we'll be doing both adjectives and adverbs. We'll be doing adjectives and adverbs. And we're going to have to choose between an adjective and between an adverb. You can also say, is the word an adjective or is it an adverb? All right, so now our chapter is adjectives and adverbs. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade kindergarten to 2. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of adjectives and adverbs is to choose between adjectives and adverbs. And is the word an adjective or an adverb? So that is our lessons as well as our chapter for today. All right. So when it comes to adjectives, right, as well as adverbs, an adjective, firstly, so an adjective is a word that tells you about the noun. Remember, nouns, it names people animals, places, or things, which means that an adjective tells us about people, animals, places, or things. And adjectives, right, they often tell what kind, or they can tell you how many. Those are adjectives. And if we look at an example, right, of an adjective, so we see adjectives are words that tells you about the noun, tells you what kind, and it tells you how many. And an example is Jody saw 3 stars in the sky. So Jody saw three stars in the sky. And if we were to identify our adjective within that sentence, right, then we can say three. And three basically tells us how many stars Jody can see in the sky. And then we have our adverb, right? And we said the adverb in a word, it tells us, an adverb is a word that tells us about the verb. Remember, a verb is the action that is taking place. Yes, well done. Three is correct. So the verb is an action that takes place, which means that the adverb, it tells us about the verb. It tells us about the action that is being done. And adverbs, right? They often tell you how, when, and where. So adverbs, they often tell you how, they tell you where, and they tell you when. And if we look at an example, right, of an adverb, then we can say Grace ran quickly. Grace ran quickly. So when it comes to adjectives, right, or adverbs, when it comes to adverbs, now we need to ask ourselves, how did Grace run? And then we can say she ran quickly. So quickly is our adverb that tells us how Grace ran. No, ran is the verb. We need to say how she ran or how fast she ran. because ran is the verb, right? So remember, an adverb, it tells us about the verb. It describes the verb. So ran is the verb, but quickly is the adverb that tells us how Grace ran. Right? All right. So remember adverbs, right? Adverbs and adjectives, it is not a noun and it's not a verb. They describe the noun or they describe the verb. So adjectives describes the noun, adverbs describes the verb. They are not the actual verb, they're not the actual noun. They only describe, but they tell us about either the adjective, either the noun, sorry, or the verb. All right. So when it also comes to adverbs, right? Most of our adverbs that tells us how. So adverbs that tell us how, they end in ly. Like for example, quickly, hurriedly, sadly, right? They end in ly. All right. So now we're going to A plus students.ca. Where we're going to do adjectives as well as adverbs. So we're now going to choose between adjectives and adverbs. All right. Here it says we need to choose the word that best describes the word in bold. Feather. So we need to choose a word that best describes feather, right? It says the feather was bright white. Do we say it is the soft feather or the soft leaf feather? Soft feather or soft leaf feather? Do we say the soft feather was bright white or the soft leaf feather was bright white? Feather. Is feather a noun or is feather a verb? Is feather a noun or a verb? All right. So if we were to choose the correct term, we will say the soft feather, because feather is a noun. So we say the feathers are soft. If we had to describe a verb, then we would say softly, right? So if it was a verb, we would have said softly. But since it is a noun, we say soft. The soft feather was bright white. So well done. Soft is correct. All right, if we look at the next one, it says, are you wearing are you wearing your luckily orange cap, or are you wearing your lucky orange cap? So are you wearing your luckily orange cap, or are you wearing your lucky orange cap? Which one is correct? Luckily or lucky? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, we would say, are you wearing your lucky orange cap? Well done. Lucky is correct. The next one says, do we say the clever little fox, or do we say the cleverly little fox? Which one is correct? The clever little fox hid in the bushes, or do we say the cleverly little fox hid in the bushes? Which one is correct? So the clever or cleverly? So do we say the clever little fox hid in the bushes, or the cleverly little fox hid in the bushes? All right. And if we were to, yes, if we were to choose the correct one, we would say the clever little fox hid in the bushes. Well done. So well done. All right. Now we're going to our test. Oopsie. Where we're going to choose between adjectives and adverbs. We're choosing now between adjectives and adverbs. Do we say the quick train flies along the tracks? Or do we say the quickly train flies along the track? Option one or option two? So which option is correct? The quick train flies along the track, or the quickly train flies along the tracks. We need to choose option one, quick, option two, quickly. All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, then we will say the quick train flies along the track. Well done. Quick is correct. Well done. The next one says, is Owen gladly to be on the new football team, or do we say, is Owen glad to be on the new football team? Which one is correct? Gladly, option one, or glad, option two? So do we say, is Owen gladly to be on the new football team, or is he glad to be on the new football team? Which one is correct? All right, then if we were to select the correct one, we will say Owen is Owen glad to be on the new football team. So glad is correct. Well done. The next one says Mrs. Hoffman. So Mrs. Hoffman cares, do you say greatly for her children, or she cares great for her children? So Mrs. Hoffman cares greatly or great for her children. So we need to choose. Do we say Mrs. Hoffman cares great or greatly? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose your option, right? I'm going to choose your option. You see, when it comes to a verb, right? When it comes to a verb, and then our verb or our adverb, it ends with an ly. So cares, right? It's the action. So we say it's greatly cares. How does she cares? Greatly, right? So greatly. Whenever there's an adverb, we add the ly. Ne? So we add the ly. So it's great. But no worries. Good trying. Well done. Let's go to the next one. It says, keep your money in a safe place, or keep your money in a safely place. So keep your money in a safe place or in a safely place. Which one is correct? Safe place or safely place? All right, then if we were to select the correct answer, then yes, we will say keep your money in a safe place. All right, and if we would, the next one says the ladies smiled. The ladies smiled. Remember, smiled is an action that they are doing. Do we say warm for the pictures or warmly for the pictures? All right, so we need to say the lady smiled. Do we say smiled warm for the pictures or warmly for the pictures? All right, and then we will then say the ladies smiled warmly for the pictures. Well done. Warmly is correct. Well done. All right, let's go to this one and then we're going on to the next lesson. Do you keep your important papers in a safe or do you keep your important papers in the safe? Which one is correct? Do you keep your important papers in the safe? All right, so important or importantly. Which one is correct? Important or importantly? All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, then yes, we can say, do you keep your important papers in the safe? Well done. Option one is correct. Important. Now we're going to say, is the word an adjective or is it an adverb? So, is the word an adjective or an adverb? All right, so now it says, is the word in bold? We need to look at the word in bold and we need to say, is that word in bold either an adjective or if it's an adverb, right? So the word in bold, we must just say if it's an adjective or an adverb. And the word before then, the word in front of the word in bold will tell us, based on the type of wording, will tell us if it's either an adjective or an adverb. Remember, if it's an adjective, right, that is underlined, then it means that our word in bold will be a noun. If it's an adverb that is underlined, then it means that our word will be a verb. All right, so now it says the baby crawled slowly across the kitchen floor. We need to say if the word slowly is an adverb or an adjective. All right, and if we were to say which word in the word is what word is in bold, or is the word an adjective or an adverb? Yeah, it says the baby crawled. What is the baby doing? What is the baby doing? If you look at what the baby's doing, right, it's an action. So now we're saying slowly. So slowly is an adverb that tells us how the baby crawls. Whether it is slowly, whether it is fastly, but the baby crawled. So that is an adverb. Slowly is an adverb. It tells us how the baby crawled. All right, look at the next one. It says, Seth will wash the dirty dishes. So Seth will wash the dirty dishes. We need to say if dirty is either an adjective or if it's an adverb. Dirty. All right. And if we were to select if it's an adjective or an adverb, then we will say that Seth will wash the dirty dishes. So this is an adjective. Because dishes, it is a noun. Dirty describes that noun, right? All right. So now we're doing one more and then we're going on to our test. It says Mrs. Garrett threw 3 empty bottles in the tub. Mrs. Garrett threw 3 empty bottles in the tub. We need to select if it's either an adjective or it's an adverb. Three. Is three an adjective or is three an adverb? So 3 bottles, 3 empty bottles. We need to say is that an adjective or is that an adverb? Which one is correct? An adjective or an adverb? And if we look at that, remember bottles is a noun. Three, it tells us how many. So this is an adjective. All right, so now we're going to our test. And this is where we're going to say now, is the word an adjective or is the word an adverb? We don't need to say, we need to choose that. Okay, it says we need to choose the word in bold. Look at the word in bold. It will tell us if it's an adjective or an adverb. In the new family picture, Clayton smiled brightly. So here we need to say, is it an adjective or an adverb? Clayton smiled brightly. Look at the word that is underlined. It will tell you if it's either a verb or if it is a noun. Then if you look at the word in bold, we can then basically say, is it an adjective or an adverb? And if we were to choose the correct option, we would say this is an adverb. So an adverb. The next one says, Justin bought a large pot for his plant. So Justin bought a large pot for his plant. And we need to say, is it an adjective or an adverb? So we need to say, is large pot, is that an adjective or is that an adverb? Adjective option one or adverb option two. All right, and if we were to select the correct answer, right, then we can say it is an adjective because large, we describe the pot. Can either be a large pot, a small pot, a big pot, right? All right, the next one says Frank has 4 tickets to Sunday's game. So Frank has 4 tickets to Sunday's game. We need to look at the word tickets or four. Is that an adjective or is that an adverb? 4 tickets. Is that an adjective or an adverb? So 4 tickets. 4 tickets. Is that an adjective or an adverb? And if we look at our correct answer, we can say it is an adjective. All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, it says the clever kitten climbs on the table. The clever kitten climbs on the table. Is this an adjective or is it an adverb? Clever kitten. Clever kitten. Is this an adjective or an adverb? All right, and we can say the clever kitten climbs on the table. And if we were to look at the word kitten, right? Kitten. Kitten is a cat, right? But now we are describing the kitten. We are saying the kitten is clever. So if you look at the word that is in bold, is that an action there? All right, and if we were to choose our correct option, we can say this is an adjective, right? Because it's saying that the cat is clever or the kitten is clever, which means that we are describing the noun. The grumpy sister needs some sleep. The grumpy sister. Is this an adjective or an adverb? Grumpy sister is an adjective or an adverb? And if we were to choose the correct option, we are describing the sister, which means that it is an adjective. All right, so before we finish off and before we go, guys, on Monday, it is a holiday. So Monday there isn't class at all. So we don't have class on Monday, right? So we will continue on Tuesday. But this is now the end of our lesson on adjectives and adverbs. We said adjective is a word that tells us more about the noun. Adjectives, they tell us how many and they tell us what kind. And then we also have adverbs, right? And adverbs also tell us more about the verb. Adverbs tell us how, when, and where. All right, so that is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade twos. You must have a good weekend further and be safe. Goodbye.